Hi there and welcome to the Diehouse Drumworks. The concept that we're going to look at here is kind of related to reading, sticking patterns, mainly around the concept of introducing 16th notes or semiquavers. Okay, so the idea here, the time signature that we're going to use is 4/4 still, so common time. So I'll put a little 4/4 at the beginning there. So that's telling us that there are 4 quarter notes in the bar. That's the main pulse within the bar. I'm just going to take a bar. I'm going to put those 4 quarter notes in the bar first. And there they are. So, coloured in note heads and stems coming off each note. So the main count in this bar will be 1, 2, 3, 4. At this level, you'll have encountered quavers or 8th notes by now. We've dealt with them in the previous sight reading tutorials. So we've got the counts in between of and. So we now have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Classically, you sort of 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and that speed. So we can hear the pulse of the bar. 1, 2, 3, 4. But the 8th note's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. What we're now doing is adding notes even in between those. I'll just put the 8th notes in first. So there's the note heads going in there on the count of and through the bar. Okay, so we'll pop the stems up there. Remember, if these are now 8th notes, that they would be joined with a beam, which is what tells us that they're 8th notes. There we go. Now to get 16th notes, we're going to divide these beats in half again. So again, think of fractions. If we divide 8th notes in half, we get 16th notes in the bar. The other name for these is semiquavers. So if we think quavers with the prefix semi meaning half, semiquavers. So we get a beat in between each of these 8th note counts. And there they are. So we've still got the coloured in note heads there. Stems coming up. And from the artistic point of view now is the difficult bit. We've got to turn these into 16th notes. So we're going to group them in groups of 4, but we're going to have 2 beams joining each group together. And this is what differentiates them on the page from 8th notes or quavers, is there's 2 beams joining them. Groups of 4 through the bar, 16th notes or semiquavers. There is a counting system for these. In fact, there's a couple of counting systems really that you'll see in some books. If you read some of the older books, like classically the Buddy Rich Modern Interpretation of Snare Drum Rudiments, uses 1 and 1 and d. The difficult thing with that is it feels like you've got 2 us within the rhythm there. The system that I prefer to use is 1 e and a. So we use E after the main count and A after the and count, all the way through the bar. Takes a little bit of getting used to. 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a. But actually with practice it rolls off the tongue very easily. 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, 1 E and a. So it's easy to count quickly if we're thinking of 16th notes. Common sticking for this would be single strokes, almost certainly. Normally when we're using 16th notes, when they're notated, it's because we're using quicker rhythm essentially. Not always, because we can play 16th notes at a slow pace, but commonly that's how we'll see 16th notes used. So a single stroke sticking pattern. Would be the way forward. Obviously if you're a left-hander, you're going to lead with the left there, left, right, left, right. So 16th notes or semiquavers through the bar. What we've got to remember with these different note values, again, just reiterating from the previous tutorials on sight reading, is that the note values now are very short. So if we had one 16th note on its own, but it would be a short note. Each one lasts up until the next 16th note in the bar. So there's our 16th note. The tempo I'm going to use here, we're going to relate this to the Rockschool grade 2 syllabus for their sight reading piece, which is on page 32 of the new book. So this is the 2012 syllabus, which is just out. There's our pace. There's 70 crotchets a minute. So if we were to play crotchets, that's one per click. If we're playing eighth notes, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Sixteenth notes, twice as fast again. So part of the trick probably to start off with is if you get your metronome running, get it set to 70 and just count. Don't worry about playing, just count along. Get used to the sound of those 16th notes. So you'd have 1 E under, 2 E under, 3 E under, 4 E under, 1 E under, 2 E under, 3 E under, 4 E under. If you find that a little bit tricky to start off with, just slow the metronome down, build it up maybe from 50 crotchets a minute, something like that. So I'm going to count in, play some 16th notes. Here we go. 1 E under, 2 E under, 3 E under, 4 E under. There we go. You might find it easier to start off with to actually accent at the beginning of each group of 4. It's just I guess a slightly more accessible way of digesting these 16th notes and getting a sense of the groups of 4. In a lot of playing situations that can work great as well. In sight reading and technical exercises, what you've got to be very, very careful of is if there isn't an accent notated, then it shouldn't be there. So if we're playing a sight reading piece and there are no accents, keep them all the same level all the way through. So with your technical exercises, watch out if you're playing like a single stroke exercise, for instance. There can be a tendency to put accents in at the beginning of each main group of 4, whereas that's technically incorrect, so watch out for that. So 16th notes, obviously the faster we go, we're really going to have to get the hands motoring. If we're playing 16th notes slowly, do it with one hand, left hand. Way of building up your left hand technique actually is practicing 16th notes just with the one hand movement. So there's our 16th note values. We can mix note values within 16th notes. We'll come on to that in another tutorial, which is a little bit more related to grade 2. What I seem to have done with this syllabus actually is it seems to jump from grade 1 to grade 2. It's quite a big jump in terms of sight reading, so we'll spend maybe a couple of lessons working on these. But if you just get the hand speed and lock it in with the click, with the basic 16ths first, that's going to stand you in good stead to progress on from there. So take your time, just get the 16th notes established, nice and steady. And even go back through maybe some of those previous tutorials on quarter notes and eighth notes. Like I mentioned earlier on, you can't do this stuff thoroughly enough. We're learning the language of music here, and once you've learnt it, you've got it. You're going to open yourself up to make yourself accessible to a lot of information that's available printed and on the internet. So you know, don't close yourself off from that. Take your time with your reading, really learn it thoroughly, and like I said, once you've got it, it's there. Okay, so good luck with the 16ths.